All right, so let's talk about the beta. Let's have a conversation. The beta is over now, and I'm gonna start things off by apologizing for the way that I handed out the beta codes. For those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, shortly after the beta dropped, I received quite a few codes. I received 10 Xbox codes, then I received 10 PlayStation codes, actually 20 PlayStation codes I received. And the way that I decided to pass it out was essentially randomly. I just said I'll post this thing on Twitter and in an hour, and whoever gets it first gets it. And at the time that I did that, I really didn't realize that what people would do was they would use bots to try to get the codes and redeem them as fast as possible. And when I realized that's what people were doing, it was already too late, because the moment I posted it, bro, like the codes disappeared in like 2 seconds. A lot of people were even wondering if I posted real codes. Some people were accusing me of posting fake codes because of how quickly it disappeared. So, my apologies on that. I'm gonna have to try to figure out a better system, a better way to do it, a way that's fair, because I do intend to send out some codes for when the game actually drops. I want to give away some copies of the game, and I want to do it in a fair way. I find that I generally prefer to do it randomly, just so everybody has a fair shot. But I'm thinking there is not really going to be a good way to do it randomly. So I might just do it for those of you that really, really, really rock with me. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scatter the codes in videos. So you're going to have to watch the videos all the way through. And the codes will flash on the screen for a few seconds. If you get it, you get it, right? So I don't know if there's a bot that's been designed to scan through videos and detect codes or whatever. If there is, let me know in the comment section below right now so I don't go that route. But if there isn't, and I believe that people have to actually watch the videos and find those codes, like it's not going to be in the same video, it's going to be in maybe 3 or 4 videos. The codes will flash up multiple times at different times. And if you see it, if you happen to be watching the whole entire video, then you get a code. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. If you have a better system, a better way that's more fair, let me know as well, and we'll definitely go with that. So that's that. Just wanted to start things off with that, because I don't think I've addressed that aspect. In terms of the beta itself, we'll start off with some of the things that I didn't like. I don't like the fact that the beta was set to middleweight, the middleweight division. I don't think the middleweight division really was the best weight class to go, just because the middleweight division is very top heavy, right? A vast majority of matches that you saw, of course, was Israel Adesanya, who, by the way, was absolutely nasty in the beta, versus Poatan Alex Pereira. I was mostly using the likes of Marvin Vittori, right? Because Marvin Vittori is also really, really good. And I was trying to just make sure that I was staying sharp in terms of the submission system. And Marvin Vittori has a lot of submissions. I used other fighters in there, of course, like Kelvin Gastelum, and then some of the fighters, of course. But a vast majority of fighters we saw was Israel. A lot of people were really picking Izzy because he was good, man. He was good. I'm sure you guys noticed the changes to the speed of the middleweight division. It's not as slow and sluggish as it is in UFC 4. Things have been sped up, and the light heavyweight division feels just as good. The heavyweight division also feels faster. So these heavier weight classes, I believe players are going to play a lot more than they did in UFC 4, because they don't feel as sluggish. But again, I think the lightweight division would have been a better weight class to go with, as opposed to middleweight. I think it would have been a better representation, because you have way more fighters in the lightweight division that can match each other, right? It's not so top heavy. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. In terms of the striking, a lot of the changes that I talked about in the deep dive was not present in the beta. I knew that going in. A lot of us, we knew that going in. Those changes will not be in the beta. Those changes will be available when you get the game. If you download the Day Zero patch, you're going to get those changes that we talked about in the beta, like the changes to the way the jab works, some of the stamina changes on the ground, the knee elbow spam being nerfed, of course, the elbow being nerfed, the knee itself being nerfed, and some of the changes, the buffs to defense in terms of your footwork, your lunges, your head movement, how stamina affects all that. A lot of those changes we're going to see in the final game, and those changes were not present in the beta, which definitely affected the way a lot of people experienced the beta. I know in the beta, block breaking was very, very heavy. It was high for sure. Strike accuracy was also very potent, right? Strikes were hitting you from angles that it shouldn't hit you from. You're trying to duck, you're trying to move your head, you're trying to evade, and shots are landing. The block also in the beta is weaker than the block in UFC 4, and I believe that once the game drops, the block gets returned back to the UFC 4 levels. And this is something that I talked to one of the devs about, Yves Gomez. They really, really love the sweet spot that they found with the block in UFC 4. At one point, the block was way overpowered. I believe in UFC 3, in EA Sports UFC 3, the block was just too good, right? It was a force field that you couldn't get through, which of course inflated strike numbers. If you can't get through the block in very few strikes, then you're going to have to strike more to get through the block, which ended up just leading to numbers being inflated. So that's one. And then later on, the block got nerfed a little bit too much. But then later on, they found a really sweet spot. The way it works in UFC 4. So I believe that's probably what we're going to have once the official game drops. Once we see the patch notes, we'll be sure exactly what we're getting. But it's not going to be as weak as it was in the beta, for sure. Of course, there were still some exploits in there. Of course, the knee elbow issue definitely reared its ugly head in the beta, and I was just laughing my ass off at it, at players that were still, using it as their bread and butter with their striking, because once the game drops, it's gone. It's gone. You're not going to have your knee elbow spam to go back to when you can't strike. It's going to be gone. You're going to have to figure out how to strike properly. So get ready for that. There were some camera issues as well on the ground when you perform certain actions, certain movements, right? Like when you jump the guard, for example, the camera will go out of whack. If you were to push somebody against the cage and take their back and jump their back and backpack them and you end up on the ground, the camera gets out of whack. Sometimes you're staring at the fighters' butts, which of course makes it very difficult for you to actually deny transition. So that was an issue. And I am hoping that once the final game drops, that's not going to be an issue anymore, because that definitely affects the way you're able to grapple in this game. Right now, bro, grappling is so dangerous. Ending up on your back or even on top, and the camera gets switched on you, and you're not able to successfully deny the submission attempt, right? Your opponent attempting to enter seamless submissions. It is very crucial that you're able to deny that, especially if you're not very versed with the submission system right now. You got to be able to deny that. And with the camera preventing you from denying it properly, it was a big problem. So hopefully that's getting fixed. A lot of people were definitely complaining about the submission system, but a lot of that was just because they just didn't understand the way that it worked. People were saying that it was overpowered, that the stamina, it was broken. It was like, why am I getting drained, but my opponent is not getting drained? A lot of questions. It is a brand new system. You're going to have to learn the system first. And after you learn the system, I think once everybody learns the system, specifically the really high level players, that's really what we're waiting for. I'm waiting for like all the high level players, the Zayavs, the Crooks, the GOAT tonight, the GOAT, GOAT, Swizz, if Unibot comes back, all these guys who are really, really good at the game, I'm waiting for them to get really good at the submission system, because when they get good at the subsystem, that's when we'll actually know what needs to be tinkered with, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be amended, what can be left as it is. We need the really, really good players to get good at that first, and then we can start examining it properly. For now, if you were having major issues with the submission system, if you were getting submitted easily, understand that, again, it is because it is a brand new system. You don't really know what you're doing just yet. You need some time to learn the system, and then you'll know where you stand. Of course, there was definitely some complaints about the ground game seemingly being essentially the same as UFC 4. I'm gonna tell you guys, bro, that is not something that I am happy about either. And we're doing every single thing we can to get them to open the ground game up. Because right now, the biggest issue with the ground game, minus the fact that it's the same, essentially the same system with the same animations as we've had for a while now, one of the biggest issues is that the ground game is very deny heavy, right? So, like, players are camping in certain positions. Like, side control is too strong right now. Sprawl, of course, is always strong. Players are not able to move freely, right? And not necessarily just move easily, freely, but like the movement should be opened up a little bit, which means that the short-term stamina consumption when you get denied should definitely be reduced. We're trying to really get them to do that to allow more of a free movement. We're trying to see if they can add more to the ground game. If there are some new animations that can be added, that would be great. Like, we're really, really doing our best to try to get them to do this. One change that will definitely be available once the game drops, I believe, is the change to the way submissions, short-term stamina, the way it works on the ground. I believe it is being reduced, so the amount of short-term stamina drain is being reduced, and I think that's going to affect the ground game in ways that I don't think a lot of people are ready for. So, looking forward to that, to see how that plays out. The clinch, of course, is another source. It's a sore spot, always has been. And we're really also pushing to see if maybe there's something else that can be done to it. This game is going to receive a lot of patches as it moves forward, and hopefully we can make suggestions that will improve some of these aspects of the game that they were not able to get to. Having more of a back room view of what happens with this game really, really shows me like the amount of work that went into like the submission system. It really is a lot. And I really want to commend them for taking that step, because the fact that they are taking a step to make submissions more complex than it was before, it tells me that there is hope. Because what I truly believe is that for this game's ground game to get to a level that it needs to get to, it should be more complex, not simplified. And this is something that we all really, really struggle with, trying to convince them to do this, because the narrative on the outside from players is, oh my God, it's too complex, it's too much. I want to be able to just get up, which of course is why, now we're getting, we're getting, you have simple submissions, you have simple grappling, grapple assist, I should say, which of course also translates to submissions. You have stand and bang, which is like a lot of players play stand and bang. A lot of players just don't want to grapple at all. And so how do you convince them, hey, pour resources into a grappling system, and when they look at their numbers, players are literally avoiding it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a really difficult thing to balance. Like, hey guys, we need you to pour resources into grappling. Make it deeper. Make it more realistic. Yes, that means it's going to get a little bit more complex than it actually is, and players are going to require more skill to be able to be successful on the ground. But that's going to make the game better. Same thing with the clinch. But then they look at the numbers, and it's like, but people are not spending time there. But it's like they're not spending time there because it's not really good, right? It's not as good as it can be. It's not because it's like I did a poll where I was like, why don't you like grappling? And the vast majority of people were saying it's because it's not realistic, not because it's too complex. So I think these are two issues that sometimes gets conflated, right? It's like people are not spending time on the ground too much because they feel like they get held down in one position too much. It's too deny heavy. When you get denied, your short-term stamina goes down. Now you got to wait for it to like climb back up. And it can be frustrating. It doesn't make for a fun system, right? We need more scrambles. We need more contextual transitions. We need more momentum transitions. We need more movement. We need things to start to look more like the seamless submissions. And again, the fact that they did that, the fact they went the route of the seamless submissions, lets you know that there are good things to come, all right? So the music was not good at all. So I'm hoping we get more variety on that. But that's pretty much it for what I didn't like about the beta. in terms of everything else, I also didn't like the fact that there was no. I didn't know that there was not gonna be a practice mode. I was really hoping there would be practice mode so that you guys can, practice a little bit. But I understand that's not really the point of the beta. The point of the beta is to test the online infrastructure, to try to, of course, find bugs, exploits, and all that. So I completely understand why there was no practice mode, although I think it would have been nice, especially online practice mode. I think it would have been really, really good. So I also, it would have been nice if there was like a way to play the AI without the system that we got. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much it. Everything else was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed testing out my ground game now. Like, it feels amazing knowing that it's no longer a weakness of mine, knowing that no matter who the player is, if the fight hits the mat, I am going to be competent in UFC 5. It's not going to be like UFC 4 where it's like, okay, that is sort of a weakness of mine. It's not a weakness anymore. In fact, it is a strength. If I put anybody into a submission, it is hell right now. It really is. And I really, really like that. Like, I submitted so many people, and it just got really, really boring. I got a few people who messaged me and actually explained the system to them a little bit, and it helped them understand it, which was really nice. I enjoyed doing that, helping them understand the way certain things worked, and it elevated their game. That felt really good. Even though the striking had issues, it was very enjoyable to play as well. Using Israel, right, and not feeling as slow as I felt with him in UFC 4. Using Poatan, Alex Pereira, using some of these other guys, and Jared Cannonier felt absolutely fantastic in UFC 5. Using these guys, striking with them, and actually feeling like I'm quick and I'm fast and I'm explosive. That was brilliant. I absolutely enjoyed every single aspect of it. The new damage system is fun. Of course, there is an exploit in there that was discovered, which is definitely being worked on. It's not going to be there in the final game. It's being worked on with the doctor stoppages. But when you get a legit doctor stoppage and you bust them open and the doctor walks in and stops the fight, it's absolutely exhilarating. It's amazing. Just overall, it was a fun time playing the beta. I didn't get to play it as much as I really wanted to play. I got some amazing matches in with Swizz. Good times. I didn't get to play the one person I really wanted to play, which was Zayaf. Just a bunch of shit came up at that time, and I never got to get matches with him. I wanted to get matches with Ed Parker. I didn't get to do that. I wanted to get matches with GOAT. I didn't get to do that. But once this game drops, I'm going to be fighting these high-level guys a lot. Like, I'm going to be fighting them a lot. Just because I want to improve at a faster rate than I did in UFC 4. And even though you can do that fighting lesser players, a really good way to do that is also testing yourself against players who players who are flat out better than you. Taking that ass whooping over and over and over again. Don't shy away from it. It can absolutely help you improve. Overall, the beta was a success, in my opinion. It makes me not even want to look. Like, I'm looking at UFC 4 right now. I was about to try to do a showcase for UFC 4, and I'm just like, bro, I don't even want to touch it. I genuinely don't want to touch it. It is such an inferior game compared to UFC 5. It's only until you guys really get your hands on it and start playing it consistently that you see exactly what I'm talking about. It is an inferior game to UFC 5. I don't even want to touch it anymore. So it is going to be a long wait for the game to officially drop. But we shall, we'll see. What I'm going to try to do is, if we can get a brand new build, then I'm going to see if I can get a match with Anthony Romero so I can show you guys some more gameplay. I got to get approval for when that can go live from EA. The moment they give me approval and they tell me that I can upload it, that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to record a few really high-level matches with Romero, and I'm going to upload it to the channel so you guys can have, because, nobody was really allowed to upload the beta. So hopefully I'm able to upload something for you guys to watch in the next few days. So I'm going to leave it at that. Overall, a success. A few things here and there that I didn't like, but overall, major success. I'm very happy with it. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely leave a like. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your thoughts, concerns, and I will see you guys later with a brand new one. As always, stay safe, boys. Peace out. Have a good one.